Hi, I'm Bryan Leary at Oak and Grain Restaurant at the Inn at Pleasant Lake in New London, New Hampshire. And what I've got here is a lamb loin rack from Miles Smith Farm. This is over in Loudon. Great story about this is that the original farm's been there since 1850. The gentleman there, Miles Smith, was a stonemason. He used to make stone fixtures for the Shakers. But Carol and Bruce have taken over, and we've got just some intense flavor within this lamb loin rack. It's got great marbleization of fat in there, so once we char this at high heat, all that fat kind of dissipates within that meat and just gives it this incredible flavor. I take great pride in going around to all the different farms that I use, actually about 28 different farms right now, just in New Hampshire and Vermont, and some farms in Maine. But I get to visit all these farms and actually connect with how they raise their proteins, their beef or their lamb or their pigs, and it's really nice to be able to put a face with somebody instead of ordering something that comes from all the way across the country and it comes over on a plane and a boat and a train and all that other stuff. So, all right, so what we're going to do is take this lamb rack loin chop right here from Miles Smith Farm. What we've done is made our own sea salt here. We got a little bit of sea salt from Maine and some herbs that we've dried from our garden last year, and just puree them up on there. So we just add a little bit of the seasoning. We got to make sure we get both sides. That's important. And then after that, we're going to transfer it right to our hot grill. It's always important to make sure that you got your proteins out probably about a half an hour prior to grilling them or searing them, only so that they can acclimate to room temperature. Now, I used to eat lamb when I was a kid. Now my grandmother is Irish, and what she would do is usually would take lamb and boil it for about 4 or 5 hours in water, to the point where you could actually draw on the wall. There was so much condensation built up, and then she would throw a head full of cabbage in there. So probably for about 15 years after that, I would never touch lamb because all I could smell was boiled lamb, and it was just horrible. Until I started using some local stuff, obviously going to cooking school, and then working with the product a lot, I realized how great it was. So what I do here is just probably grill it for about 2 minutes on each side. Now the grill's probably about 425 degrees right now, and then after that we're just going to put a little bit of Dijon on it. Just really important to make sure that we sear it on both sides. So we lock in all those juices that are in there, because that's really what makes it flavorful. All right, now that our lamb's all really nice and grilled, we're going to take it, and like I said, we've got a little bit of Dijon we're going to brush on top of it. Just gives it a little bit of zing, a little bit of pop too, to it. And then this is some pesto that we made too. So we've got this really earthy, vibracious kind of flavor to it. So that goes on there. Perfect. This will form a really nice crust in the oven. So we're going to throw it in the oven. I've got it about 375 right now. Should be in there about 6 or 7 minutes. Then we're going to come over, kind of get the dish together. I've got some really nice local spinach from Spring Ledge Farm. They greenhouse grow this over the winter time, which is remarkable to be able to get fresh greens in New England during that time, because I'm not a big fan of, like I said, having everything flown in from California. So we've got this really nice variety of spinach. It's huge. I like the bigger spinach. The baby spinach, you cook like 600 pounds of that stuff, and then you're left with like a tablespoon of spinach at the end and 4 gallons of green water. Nobody wants any of that. So we've got that winter spinach. We're just going to get a little bit of oil on that pan and make sure it's nice and hot. Also at the same time, what I've got going on is a little bit of confit leek risotto. So we get these leeks from Brookford Farm. Again, one of my favorite things, that they pull them during the fall time and they overwinter them. So we've got that going. And then we also have the sauce for it, which is a little bit of roasted garlic, Pinot Noir onion jam, because every dish needs just a little bit of booze. So we've got that heating up. We're going to throw our spinach together in there. It's going to pop a little bit. You want to make sure you stand back. Again, real simple. We're just doing a little bit of sea salt on there. Like I said, just a little bit of wine. And then I shut it off. A lot of people overcook their spinach. Once that heat's in there already, that's all you need. You just want to turn it over a couple times. All that residual heat in that pan is going to cook that spinach down. You don't want it wilted down into like a mushy substance. You want to make sure it's just got a little bit of still some texture and it's still pretty firm. All right, so that's spinach ready to go. And now we're going to pull the lamb out of the oven, which is just going to be perfect. All right, now I'm going to plate up. So what we're going to do now is take this fantastic risotto with these confit leeks, and I like to make sure my risotto is a little bit loose. I don't really like that starchy ball that you chew into and it sits in your stomach all day long. So now we've got this risotto in here. Plate that up. And we've got our lamb loin chops right here. Probably just need one. They're pretty big. And we've got a little bit of that wilted winter spinach right next to it. Got a little bit of Pinot Noir onion jam sitting on top. And then for some color, what I've got is these things. They're fantastic. Little oven roasted tomatoes. I put these in the oven before I leave at the end of the night with just the residual heat, and it helps cook them down and intensify that flavor in there. And I love it because I actually don't have to be at work and I can still do work too, so it's great. So this just going to go on here for some color, and then this is just a little bit of golden beet puree. I just like it because it's really nice and earthy, and it's just got a little bit of bite of acidity in it too. So that's it. Pretty simple stuff. All local, all fresh, all here at Oak and Grain Restaurant at the Inn at Pleasant Lake in New London.
Wonderful.
And that's it. I'm Chef Bryan Leary at Oak and Grain Restaurant.